Internet, hello and welcome to Koi Cubed. We have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about today. I am very excited to be with you lovelies on this fine Tuesday. It is somehow approaching March, which does not make sense because we've been in March for so long. I know that's a very popular meme. I know it is everywhere, but I am feeling it as this is the last Koi Cubed of February. We are doing our lap in the quarantine ages. If any of you follow me on social media, you know that I have been decorating all day. I have had frames and all sorts of chaos setting up around my house since Black Friday. I bought a bunch of frames on Black Friday with the intention of framing these beauties. And now they are up, and my camera did not like that decision I just made, but I am very excited, but I kept them just out of framing so I could have some continuity with my shows. But know that right up there is some sweet, sweet frames. Today, we'll be talking about Blue Beetle. We'll be talking about some Snyder news, some quotes over on the Snyder front. We'll be talking about the Mortal Kombat trailer, the Invincible trailer, a bunch of Spider-Man titles, all sorts of good stuff. And since I was leaning in to grab my camera to show you guys those frames, I saw in the chat that someone wanted me to talk about Spider-Man, so I'll talk about Spider-Man. Let's talk about Spider-Man first. Why not? You guys are you're the boss. You make the rules. Spider-Man released a series of titles all over the internet through social media with various plays on the word home. We have had Spider-Man Homecoming, we have had Spider-Man Far From Home, and now we are apparently getting another home. We're going to keep in that trend. The one that Tom Holland released was Spider-Man Phone Home, which is a, E.T. quote that is pretty hard to shake. And the other is Tony Revolori. I believe it was it Jacob or Tony Revolori? I think I saw Tony Revolori commenting. I think it was, yes, it is Jacob Batalon who shared the title is Spider-Man Homewrecker. So we've got Spider-Man Homewrecker and Spider-Man Phone Home, meaning neither of these are the title, or they're both the title. This is the multiverse of madness. Perhaps it is the multiverse of titles, the multiverse of mad titles. It's all pretty insane. I'm so excited for this movie. We were supposed to get this in December of this year. I don't know if that's still what's tracking. It's going to be really interesting because Spider-Man Homewrecker, we'll call it for this iteration, Spider-Man Homewrecker is going to kind of fall into place where it should have in the multiverse stuff. We are going to land with post-WandaVision, whatever that means for the multiverse, which is going to be very, very soon. We won't yet have necessarily had the information that we might have if this movie had came out after the Eternals. I don't think the Eternals will deal too much with multiverse stuff. Thankfully, Black Widow is a time jump movie from the 90s. We don't have to worry about the Black Widow continuity as much, but it is interesting. We're going into the second lap of quarantine, and what that means for movie releases. I don't know. I know as of press, as of this moment, they're not planning on releasing Black Widow at home. So will that shift everything further? Will that become a late summer release? Will that move the Eternals? Will that move all of this? It is December that Spider-Man 3 is supposed to come out. It does make sense. We'd start to get details like the title, maybe a first look, maybe those things. I'm very curious about Spider-Man Phone Home. A bunch of people in the chat, I see it moving, saying I see the various words of home. And yes, tonight Tom Holland is on Jimmy Fallon, where I do think we'll get the actual title, especially with these two fake titles coming out. It wouldn't surprise me if we get one more fake title from some social media account, and then the real one tonight. So I'd expect by this time next week, on the next Koi Cubed, we'll be able to talk about what the Spider-Man 3 title actually is. I'm assuming it has to do with the multiverse. I'm assuming it won't be No Place Like Home. I'm assuming it won't be something as cheesy, but these titles are fun in their cheesiness, so I guess it is possible. We will see. Time will tell. Live chat, I'm digging these titles. If you're watching this later, not live, throw your home title in the comments and we'll see what happens. But it does seem that Homewrecker and Phone Home are safely off the list of titles for Spider-Man 3. Tonight, Jimmy Fallon, Tom Holland, let's find out what that real beast is. I'm excited, maybe even a first look, because it is about that time. It's about 10 months from the movie coming out. They could start giving us little tastes. I'm overwhelmed with glee for MCU stuff to keep coming at us. WandaVision's blowing my mind. We will be talking about WandaVision episode 7 near the end of this episode. It'll be full spoilers then, but I will warn you well before we dive into episode 7. Time will tell. Spider-Man blank home. We will see. Intrigue sets in. All right, the first story of the day that I was going to start with before someone in the chat was very excited, which I totally understand. I love that I caught that because I am so hyped for Spider-Mans. Is we have a Blue Beetle director. We officially have Blue Beetle moving forward. We have had Blue Beetle with a writer. We've had directors attached. We've had directors leave. We've had all sorts of stuff with Blue Beetle. This, to me, is the biggest yes and. This, to me, seems like this is actually shaping up to be a real thing. I'm very optimistic. I'm very hopeful. It does look like we're going to be getting a Blue Beetle movie, which is the first Latino hero from DC. It is to be directed by starring Jamie Reyes, that iteration of Blue Beetle. Jamie Reyes is my personal favorite Blue Beetle. Directed by Angel Manuel Soto. Now it looks like mine is chill, so I'm going to keep going and hope that I'm not just speaking at no one. Time will tell. It has happened before. Jesus, that is very kind. I very much appreciate you. Thank you. And I'll post the P.O. box here in a minute. Spider-Man Home for the Holidays, Jason Ritchie says, which is a very solid idea, and I could see them going that way. Apparently I'm back. Okay, so it was glitching. I don't know. I do have some Hollywood Hills Wi-Fi. I actually don't live that far from Kevin, just a little less fancy. But yeah, Kevin is not far, and apparently this little pocket of Wi-Fi is charming. So all apologies. My views just dropped by 2/3, so apparently that was a fair amount of internet issue. I do apologize for that. I have no idea. And we're back! All right, hopefully you guys caught my Blue Beetle craziness. And I was saying that Jesus in the Streamlab was offering to send me comics, which is very, very kind. I will post a P.O. box. Anything you guys want to send, I'll post a P.O. box in the YouTube as like a comment. So that will be the conversation diving in forward. Time will tell what happens with Blue Beetle, but I'm really excited we have a director. It's a character near and dear to my heart. Moving over to Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is one of my favorite video game franchises of all time. I was the exact right age for Mortal Kombat. I grew up with Mortal Kombat. The original movie is one of the rare good video game movies. By the way, finally saw Sonic. Sonic is incredible. Highly recommend you check out Sonic. That is a fantastic all-ages movie and an exceptional video game movie. Like, on the video game scale, near the top. It was exceptional. Mortal Kombat did that in the 90s. Mortal Kombat, I thought, was a very, very good video game movie. I'm hoping this one is as well. The trailer dropped. It has so many fan service moments in a good way. It has so many suspenseful, incredible moments, but the thing that really shines for me is the choreography looks really practical. You need Mortal Kombat to look like a brutal fatality of a movie. You need to be invested. But most importantly, you need to buy the characters that are outlandish in the video game, much less in a movie. I need to believe that Sub-Zero can freeze people and do crazy shit. I need to believe, get over here. And I do in this trailer. I'm very excited to be invested in these characters. I love them from the video game. I think they're going to take their time and build up the characters themselves. They've done a very good job with casting. I was really impressed with how Mehcad Brooks looks as Jax. I'm a big fan of the overall look of Sub-Zero and Scorpion, which are my boys. Louis Tan, who's a real-life one of my boys, is in the movie, and I'm very excited to see him play an original character and shape that whole narrative going forward. Very, very intrigued by all of the glory that trailer brought us. I think it's the most anticipated video game movie ever. I think Assassin's Creed, no, what was it called? Yeah, Assassin's Creed had been, and then it just wasn't good. Hopefully this doesn't do that to Mortal Kombat fans, including myself. It looks exceptional. All right. Oh, do we have a new name? Spider-Man Home Slice. I knew we'd get one more. I thought we'd get 3. Spider-Man Home Slice coming from Zendaya. That makes sense. I see that for her. And I see that. Yep. All right. So Spider-Man Home Slice is now off the table as well. Tonight, Jimmy Fallon. We will see how it goes down. All right. We also got another excellent genre content fandom trailer in Invincible. Invincible is one of the great indie comic books. It is written by Robert Kirkman of Walking Dead fame. It is a different take on both Spider-Man and Superman in its own way. I'm not going to give anything away, but there's a character that is the Superman parallel, and our lead, our eye line to the world, is a very Spider-Man character. I'm very, very curious how the animated one translates, because those are two very different worlds. Narratively, the comic lands it exceptionally, and this show looks very good. It's got one of the best voice casts ever assembled. The animation looks like expensive, and they took their time. I'm really in for this, and then a couple years later, we're going to be getting a live-action movie completely separate from the animated show. So we've got a bunch of Invincible stuff coming at us very, very soon, kicking off with an Amazon show. I have been really excited for the world to discover Invincible. I'm new-ish to it. I only read it 3-4 years ago. It's Hector Navarro, one of my buddy's favorite comic of all time. Hector and I are like diehard Spider-Man guys, and Invincible is that for him. So if you like the Spider-Man kind of character as well as a Superman kind of character, I do recommend you check out Invincible before the show. It's always nice to discover it in a new medium, but I think you'd dig the comic book, and it's a sizable run. It's like 150 issues. It's gorgeous. What else is there to say without spoiling it? The supporting cast is just as dope as the leads. And there's so many twists and turns and surprises that you want to read it before the show, in my opinion. I would recommend you check out Invincible, and the show drops on Amazon very, very soon, and the trailer really impressed me. I'm excited. We also got a brand new Twisted Metal update. Sorry, my brain just totally spasmed thinking about how excited I am for Twisted Metal. We have a Twisted Metal update. I, again, should have gone... My note said Sonic then Twisted Metal. Now I'm doubling back. That was why my brain misfired, because I was going to do a little video game section, but here we are. Twisted Metal got writers in the form of the Deadpool writers. I am so excited for this. Twisted Metal Black was my first PS2 game. I am not usually one for brutality, but something about Twisted Metal always struck a very special chord in my heart. They're going to be doing it through Sony Pictures TV. PlayStation obviously is a Sony property. Sony could use some hits. They tried to do their own little network a while back and made Powers, Brian Michael Bendis, comic book adaptation. I haven't heard a lot from Sony doing their own IPs in a while. Obviously, they've got Spider-Man, but they also have tons of PlayStation stuff. Twisted Metal came back way in 1995. This has been in development since, I think, 2018, 2019. I heard about this a while ago. But now it's got Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. These are the writers behind Deadpool 1 and 2. Incredible writers, a perfect tone for this movie. Irreverent, brutal madness. It's very Deadpool. Like, Twisted Metal, that works. There's a lot of crossover in that Venn diagram. I really think this could land. So that's a really, really solid update for the movie, and I could not be more excited to see two of my childhood 90s video game movies coming to life in this insane way. We're living in a golden age of genre content. I'm pretty stoked. We also this week finally have a Supergirl. Flash is looking to be a Justice League level event. Flashpoint might be bigger than Justice League. Flashpoint is a genre redefining story. You can do so much with continuity going forward. It does make sense to have it as a soft reboot for lots of continuity. It does intrigue me which characters stay, which characters remain. This big of an announcement, this big of a casting, I do think we're going to go forward with Supergirl. I personally hope we get to keep Henry Cavill and we still get a Man of Steel. I hope that this doesn't spell just Supergirl, no Superman. I've been a big proponent for Henry Cavill's Superman. That said, I'm very excited for this Supergirl. This Supergirl is a very different take. Sasha Calle is from The Young and the Restless. I don't know her work. I'm not much of a soap guy myself, so I don't know her work. But I'm really excited to see an actress that can handle that much dialogue. Soaps are pages and pages of dialogue put into this fantastical world. I'm a big fan of her only from the video I saw where the director announced that she was it. That she's literally the person on camera, like a Zoom call, and then we see the director let her know for us and her that she'll be playing Supergirl. He picks up a super suit, holds it to her, asks if she can fly. It's very lovely. Highly recommend you check it out. Andy Muschietti in general, he's the director of not only this Flash movie, but also It and Mama. He's a horror director coming over here to the superhero world, which DC is crushing at. Very, very good director. I've got to meet him a couple times. He's one of the sweetest, kindest people. Andy Muschietti is just a darling human. This excites me to no end. I'm a big Flash character fan. I'm a big Muschietti fan. I'm really intrigued by this casting. I'm in. I'm so excited. So we got a new Supergirl, and she is from Soaps, so I'm very intrigued. We got another super chat coming in from Curtis Mason. Spider-Man Home Away from Home. That is an intriguing one. I like Home Away from Home. I've seen Home World, which would tie into the multiverse stuff. I've seen a number of those kind of options. I do like Home Away from Home. I also need to say the Pizzy? Man, I got the name wrong last time. We talked about the multiverse stuff. Flashpoint is going to be a really cool jumping on for you with all the multiverse stuff and that whole world. Let's see. Oh, Vanko. I was going to open my stream today with Vanko. Vanko got in a Streamlab just under the wire last episode, and I missed it, so I wanted to make sure I covered it this time. Vanko, I hope you're here, and if not, if you're watching it later, shout out to you, good sir. Vanko sent in a super chat last week saying, I went back and watched the last video to see what I missed and noticed that you have 2 dislikes instead of 3 now on that one. So someone actually went back and undid their dislike. That Koi positivity working YouTube miracles. That's true. Legit, dislikes are common as hell, and I get very few of them. We don't usually need any sort of moderators in this chat. We've banned 1 person, and that is an incredible feat. You guys are amazing. The Koi Pond is full of such positive, amazing folk. I'm honored that you guys watch my show and are so cool. So I wanted to give that some love. Vanko watched the show, and I was bitching that we didn't even get into the news and we already get 3 dislikes, which is just people being assholes because I hadn't even said anything yet. And it went down to 2. So someone, like he said, YouTube miracle, they do happen. Appreciate Vanko, and I do appreciate whoever changed their tune because that is not a common thing. On Syad over in the Streamlabs saying, Def going to get a Supergirl movie. They wouldn't go through 400 plus auditions if it wasn't for her own movies. You'd be surprised. They went through upwards of 6,000 Star Wars for each of the characters. I auditioned for Star Wars. They do. 400 is not that many, to be honest. 400 could be a 20-minute role. I've been on bigger casting calls for smaller things. This does make me think we're going to get a bigger Supergirl, but only because of her charisma and her... I think Andy Muschietti's setting up a bigger universe. The 400 thing, I've seen a lot of people share. That doesn't mean as much as people might assume. 400 is not that many. But I just, my own personal biases is I would like Supergirl to have her own thing and Superman to keep having his Man of Steel and keep going forward, all of that at the same time. So it's very important to me that we get at least a little bit more Man of Steel post-Justice League. Will it happen? I don't know. Will Supergirl get a movie? Probably, but we will see, and I appreciate you chiming in. A lot of people don't realize 400 is not as many as it sounds. They might audition 400 people in a weekend, and casting usually takes much longer than a weekend. So, as I said, thousands went out for Star Wars. I went out for Star Wars, and I was not at that level of career to have done that. So, there's quite a bit of red tape, and this movie also has to do well for them to consider going that direction. What's really going to be interesting is the Snyder Universe, whatever the numbers are on the Justice League cut that drops in March versus them going forward with what Shazam did versus them going forward, because Ben Affleck's done, we don't know if Henry Cavill's done, Gal's not done, so we've got 3 very different directions with the Holy Trinity. Don't know what Ray Fisher's going to do regarding his Cyborg, because he gets his time finally. We finally get to see Cyborg in Justice League with Snyder, but what's that character doing in the DC Universe? All of these questions aren't answered, so it's going to be really intriguing with these 2 universes simultaneously, and then bringing in Matt Reeves' Batman, which is my most anticipated of the DC stuff. The Batman is my most anticipated anything. Any movie, Marvel, DC, comic, not comic, the Batman's my most anticipated movie in the future. So for me, that's what I'm really focused on, but it will be interesting to see how this all shakes out, and there's no real way to know yet, because I'm sure there's 3 or 4 Supergirl scripts floating around. It's just a matter of whether the movie ever gets made. Think about how many times they've announced Batgirl stuff, or how many times they've announced like this spin-off, that spin-off, the Death and Return of Superman, Justice League Mortal, the Dark Justice League. There's all sorts of stuff. So time will tell, but I'm hopeful as well for a Supergirl movie. We talked about Twisted Metal. We did not talk about Jupiter's Legacy. Mark Millar, Mark Miller. I will work on that. It's spelled Millar, but it's pronounced Miller, and I said it wrong for like a decade. Reading the comic, I always saw his name as Millar. Gotta fix that. Mark Miller of Kingsman and Ultimates, he's got an insane amount of original IP. Netflix bought a bunch of stuff to make MillarWorld over at Netflix 2 years ago for a pretty penny. Now it's starting to come to fruition. Jupiter's Legacy is an iconic comic book from Mark Miller and Frank Quitely, if memory serves. And it's being adapted. We got our first teaser over on Netflix, which means the beginning of all the MillarWorld stuff is coming. I am very intrigued by it. The teaser really gives nothing away. Josh Duhamel's in it. You hear his voice very briefly, but we don't really know much more beyond that. I'm hopeful for it because I'm a big Mark Millar fan most of the time. I like 80% of his stuff, but the stuff I like, I really like. We will have to see whether it translates and what Netflix plans to do with it, because long form is the way to go with Mark Millar's stuff, but how it gets adapted, time will tell. So keep an eye out for that teaser. It just dropped yesterday, and keep an eye out for lots of Mark Millar stuff and a MillarWorld shaping up over at Netflix. I'm hopeful because I really dig what Netflix has done with this stuff. The Old Guard was a great adaptation of the Greg Rucka book. Mark Millar is a very, very cinematic writer. Hopeful, very hopeful. Let's see. Let's talk about the SnyderCut. Let's talk about all sorts of WB stuff, going from indie comics to DC Comics. Warner Brothers, this is crazy to me. Warner Brothers originally wanted to release the SnyderCut with no music, no visual effects, and not even color correction, and just release it. Because there's such a vocal contingent of fans, the Snyder fans are so passionate, they were like, well, they'll just release the movie. But Zack Snyder left when the movie was an uncut, giant, 4+ hour, unfinished black and white movie on his laptop. And they were like, let's just do that. That's insane. So, this is what was released in the Vanity Fair article, which I highly recommend you read. Initially, says Snyder, Warner Brothers just wanted to release the raw footage on his laptop saying, quote, I was like, that's a no, that's a hard no. And they're like, but why? You can just put up the rough cut. Snyder didn't trust their motives. I go, here's why. 3 reasons. 1, you get the internet off your back, which is probably your main reason for wanting to do this. 2, you get to feel vindicated for making things right, I guess, on some level. And then 3, you get a shitty version of the movie that you can point at and go, see, it's not that good anyway. So maybe I was right. I was like, no chance. I would rather just have a SnyderCut be a mythical uniform for all time. I, as you guys know, disagree with some of the Snyder stuff. I like the dude as a human. Zack Snyder and his wife are awesome people. But I personally am not big on this Joker take. I'm not big on some of the other stuff. But I think he's an incredible director. I love his style. And I love this quote. The idea of what's in your head is always going to be better than anything. That you can only imagine the boundless options of your imagination for a movie. Releasing a movie that's been longed for 6 years, 4 years, and your imagination's already run rampant for 4 years is such a dumb idea. There's a lot of really emotional stuff in the Vanity Fair article. I did not pull those quotes because I wanted to focus on the business stuff. What this man went through is insane. What he and his wife have recovered from, and the charities they put money towards, and the people they are, I respect and love dearly. I'm a huge fan of Deborah and Zach as humans. This quote is everything that is scary about studios, is they literally just wanted to play a movie off a laptop. That's like going to a 20-year reunion and just like putting up the projector screen and like slideshowing pictures. Like, that's not the movie. So I'm really proud of him for doubling down and saying, no, that's never going to see the light of day. And he followed up by saying, the filmmaker tells Variety Fair that Warner Brothers eventually spent around $70 million to finish his cut of the movie, which includes completed visual effects, a full score by Junkie XL, which I'm very excited about, and a day's worth of shooting new scenes. But none of that money went to Snyder himself, who tells Vanity Fair he declined to take a fee, saying, quote, I'm not getting paid, I didn't want to be beholden to anyone, and it allowed me to keep my negotiating powers with these people pretty strong. You're goddamn right. 0 money, did it for the passion of the project, and all of that money, $70 million, went into post-production, went into the score, went into that day of shooting, which I can't imagine how much, you know, these actors, that's a lot of scheduling, that's a lot of chaos, and the actual scope of what they're shooting. They had to build sets, they had to get costumes done, they had to do all that stuff. So it's a sizable amount of money. $70 million is multiple movies on the indie or even medium scale. That's a staggering amount of money, but him not taking any is a very commendable thing for the fans, for trying to get this out there, and to have that bargaining chip, like, no, don't pay me, trust me, we're going to make my thing. And that's why we're not getting some like, it's fine. So this quote, to be honest, has me more excited for the movie than anything we've seen footage-wise. And personally, that last Joker image is this kind of balances it out. I'm not a fan of that Jesus Joker thing. So I think this is going to be a really interesting experience, a great 4-hour experience. This quote has me in. I cannot wait for March. Diving in to that movie. If you guys have any ideas for what you want me to do for coverage, let me know. Like, leave a comment. I don't know what I have 4 hours is too long for a watch along. That's too long to have a camera on me while I like eat and watch a movie, especially when I haven't seen. Maybe like a breakout review. If there's anything you specifically want me to do for coverage of the Snyder Cut, let me know here. It gives me 2 weeks to kind of prep it. I would love to have your input for what you guys want to see. So that is my intrigue over there in the world of Snyder. I did see a super chat pop up. Let me go ahead and check that real quick. We've got from Jesus Gastelum, good news for Marvel Disney. The Punisher and Jessica Jones rights reverted back with DC. James Gunn has been teasing pics for the Peacemaker show. All of that, very, very true. There's a 3-year window where you had the rights living at Netflix, and that has expired as of last week, maybe even this week. We are officially in the world where we can have Jessica Jones and the Punisher over on Marvel's streaming or in movies or whatever they want to do. We've got them back. Very exciting stuff. And the pictures from James Gunn sharing the Peacemaker stuff is delightful. I highly recommend, if you don't follow James Gunn on Instagram, do. There's going to be lots of cool behind the scenes stuff, and he's just an angel boy. James Gunn is just the sweetest. His animals and him as a person, and there's just so much goodness over there. Check out James Gunn's Instagram for lots of photos, and thank you very much to good Sir Jesus. That is a very, very good point. Will the Thrill, thank you very much, man. Will the Thrill with Off Topic, but I recently finished Saga Book 1, and it's fantastic. I can't wait to read more. Thanks for the recommendation. Will the Thrill with the sweetness and the saga goodness. Will, thank you very much. I am honored that I could show anyone that book. I am honored that I can introduce people to these things that mean so much to me. Saga is a life-changing book for me. It is quite a genre bender. You're in book 1 and it only takes more chances. It's one of the most inventive uses of the medium ever. There's only so many ways you could tell that story, and the medium truly is emboldened for Saga existing. Now, you're a third of the way to being caught up on hiatus. Take your time reading. Some of us have been on hiatus for years. Fiona Staples and Brian K. Vaughan are apparently working on it as we speak. That is one thing he has said in quarantine he is doing. He also liked my post about the art, and I was like, it's funny, I'm way more squirrely about comic book writers and artists than I am about like actors, because I've worked with actors, but I think comic writers and artists are like magicians. They invent stuff that like if I meet Alex Maleev, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind. Like, this came from someone's brain. Someone's hand made this. What? How? So yeah, comic writers and artists. So Brian K. Vaughan and Brian Michael Bendis liked one of my posts on Instagram, both of them within an hour, and I was like, so much love for Saga, so much love for Brian K. Vaughan, so much love for Fiona Staples. That book is a game changer. I'm so glad you're loving it. It's also a very specific book. So as much as I recommend it, it is something I always worry that people won't enjoy as much as I did, because I literally put it up there with the best. I put it up there with the greatest Spider-Man hits. I put it up there with My Precious Mr. Miracle. I put it up there with Animal Man and Watchmen, and it's in that top tier. There's nothing quite like Saga, and that puts it in the Watchmen rarefied air. I'm very excited that people are loving it with me yelling about it, and really, honestly, thank you for telling me, and thank you for the super chat. I much appreciate Will the Thrill. Let me know how, as you keep enjoying it, what you think. Like, as you're reading it, keep me posted. It only gets crazier. And if you want, Jenny and I, my friend Jenny, we did a show called Comic Books and Craft Beer. We haven't been doing it lately because of COVID, where we got really drunk and went volume by volume. Now that you've read volume 1, on this very YouTube page, look up Comic Books and Craft Beer and watch the volume 1. You can kind of relive volume 1 as we get drunk talking about it. Don't watch volume 2 until you've read it, etc. There's spoilers. But enjoy more Saga content via my drunk ass talking about one of the greats. Very excited for you to keep going, and thank you again. Much appreciated. All right, a little bit more news before we get to WandaVision thoughts. And then as we get to the bottom of the news, I am going to try to catch a couple of the live chats. This show always, I want it to be under an hour, and it never happens. That said, The Late Con is a new show I'm developing that I was developing at a couple other places. I got the rights back. Gonna be There's an entire separate YouTube called The Late Con with Coy-Jandreau. If you guys could subscribe, that'd be amazing. I want to show people there's interest. I'm going to try to just build it myself, self-produce this thing that I've been developing for years, and it's going to be a tight under an hour. It's my first edited thing. We're going to be doing a full-on, you'll see. But there's a couple segments over there teased of the way it's going to get shaped out, but it's all just preview stuff. There's no late con episodes yet. I'm hoping in the next 2 weeks we can get the first one up, but I want to make sure the debut is right. I want to make sure the pilot is good. But please head over and keep an eye on that. Ken, thank you. Much appreciated. Seriously, thank you. And basically right now it's just a holding space for me to talk about WandaVision and edit it down to a little bit more bite size. But that's going to be my first edited bit of content, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys as it develops. The Late Con with Coy-Jandreau, it's a show I've dreamt of for years. Now I'm bringing it to you. It's coming. All right. A little bit more news before we get into WandaVision. Guy Ritchie is going to direct a World War II movie. Already exciting. Guy Ritchie, one of my favorites of all time. World War II, a little overdone, but a very important phase in human failure. And Guy Ritchie is going to make it interesting and new again. So I'm very excited for a World War II Guy Ritchie joint. That said, the title, even more exciting. It is called The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which is the most Guy Ritchie shit ever, and it's about the first Black Ops team in the British war cavalry. Winston Churchill is basically like, yo, if they're gonna be dicks, we'll be dicks right back, and the Black Ops was born with this story. That's so Guy Ritchie. Sign me the fuck up. I'm very excited. So, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is coming from Guy Ritchie. He is doing The Boys, no, it's not The Boys. The Boys is a comic book show. The Gentleman. He's doing The Gentleman show first, so hopefully we get both of these very, very soon. The Gentleman was my second favorite movie in all of 2020. It's incredible. If you haven't seen The Gentleman, check it out. Guy Ritchie, genius. Very excited. All right. Mr. Nobody, speaking of incredible directors, the people behind John Wick are not releasing a John Wick movie this year, but they are releasing a John Wick-esque movie in that universe with Bob Odenkirk in the John Wick-esque role called Mr. Nobody, and it's coming to theaters a little early. It got moved from February to April to, well, it got moved from last year. It's moved a lot. March 26th, in theaters, we get Mr. Nobody. Now, I personally am not at the place of safety with theaters, but New York is opening theirs back up on March 6th at 25% capacity. So hopefully we have a light at the end of the tunnel with this whole thing. Hopefully we are coming out of this very soon. That said, Universal has lowered their VOD window. The window between release and VOD is getting shorter while we're in COVID. So if your theaters around you, like mine, aren't open, I still think this is good. I still think Mr. Nobody getting a theatrical release, keeping theaters in some business, making some box office, and then a shorter release window, and then people that can't go to the theater get the movie. I think that's a compromise if there ever is going to be one. I'm very excited for this. Check out the trailer. Bob Odenkirk, Mr. Nobody, March 26th, and then probably soon thereafter on VOD. The Schmodown kicks off very soon. Usually at this point of the show we talk about the Schmodown. Not much I can say yet, except I officially locked in my teams. Can't tell you who, but team stuff is coming. I'm very excited to get into it. I think also, I got a lot of call to actions for you guys. Also in the comments on this very page, let me know if you want this. Bibbs and I have been talking about doing a Schmodown show on this network on my page, like on Koi stuff. And basically I would do like a Meet the Mercs, and I'd have my Mercs come in. You guys could have like an hour with them. It might just be a 12-part miniseries, just meeting each Merc, just a conversation. It might be weekly after some matches. I'm going to try to make time between the Late Con, this, and everything else I do, KoiCast, Patreon. I don't have a lot of time, but I do think it'd be kind of cool to sit down with each of the Mercs and powwow. So if that's something you're into, let me know so I know that I'm not doing it for the ego of me and my Mercs. So yeah, let me know if that's something you'd be down for. I want to do some Schmodown stuff with you guys more, but I can't sound... I just said sounds. Meet the Mercs sounds awesome. Thank you, Jeff Lee. Scott Wells says, yes! Okay, excellent. Bringing in the Mercs. Ken, okay, so there's impact. That said, what was I tangenting on? I was about to go into WandaVision. Oh yeah, that said, there's not much other Schmodown stuff I can really talk about until the matches are here. So know that there is movement, but it can't be discussed. Know that I've talked to each of my Mercs this week. Know that I'm very excited that the teams are locked in, and know that we're around the corner from some really cool stuff. So Jason Ritchie would like that. I take Jason Ritchie's word with much weight. Excellent news. Let's see. My mom, that's kind of my fault. I had said that saying wrong my whole life, so of course Coy picked up the bad habit. It is punch a gift horse in the mouth, Jeff Lee. I'm onto your sass. Sometimes there's a gift horse, you gotta sock it in the mouth. All right, I can see the number of people in here. We got a solid amount. I am thinking the show is better later. We tend to have better views later in the day, so moving it to 4:30, you guys don't seem to mind. I think that will be the plan going forward. That said, we're about to get into WandaVision spoilers. This is for WandaVision episode 7. If you have not seen episode 7, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Get the fuck out. Come back after you've watched WandaVision episode 7. Come right back to this point. 35 minutes in. Dive the fuck back in. We talk about WandaVision. But don't let me ruin it for you. Dropped on Friday. It's now Tuesday. There should be enough time, but I don't want to spoil shit. Okay, I'm done pausing. Okay, WandaVision episode 7 was a continuation of the madness we've had so far. I'm not going to say each episode gets better, but I will say the second act, I think, is all of the stuff that people wanted the first act to be. I personally loved the mystery of the in-show stuff. I'm still in love with what we got now. Don't worry. I'm not saying this is lesser. I just think it's really interesting how they're able to make a completely different show every week, and some are going to land better than others. I loved The Office stuff. I never watched Modern Family. It's not my cup of tea. But I really appreciated the details that I even recognized having not watched the show much. I really enjoyed this episode. I definitely loved that I expected it to be one thing and it took a total left turn. I really, really expected it to be much more Pietro heavy, and he didn't pop up until the first post-credit scene. I also really enjoyed that we're at the 2010s now, and that's when the post-credit scene became more popular thanks to, Iron Man and those things that had post-credit scenes in 2008. The 2010s is when that post-credit scene, a lot of movies were doing it. I love that in that decade is when we get the first one with this show. So a great post-credit scene, very, very fun. I really, really am enjoying this whole vibe of the show. Now, the next episode is not only rumored to be the longest episode to date, but it would be now. We did the 2010s. We are now up to date. So I imagine we are going to bust out into our world and live there for the last 2 episodes. I still think there's 3 episodes. I think that the way the chronology of the show is going and the way this leads right into Falcon and Winter Soldier with just on a calendar, not in storytelling, but on a calendar, I do think we're going to have a 10th episode and then the special that they announced, the behind the scenes stuff of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I do think there's going to be. That said, I am enjoying the mystery of maybe just guessing. Who knows? I'm just theorizing here. So I think there's 3 more episodes. I think they're all going to be decently long. I don't think we're going to get an hour-and-a-half episode, but I do think with the current runtime at 30 minutes, we could easily have a couple 45-minute episodes, maybe even an hour, because it adding up to 6 hours. I don't know if they're going to count the credits. I don't know how they're going to call that 6 hours, so I'm really excited. Let's dive into my notes. 1, this broke Disney+. First episode to crash Disney+. Holy shit, that's impressive. 2, It's Been Agatha All Along is a goddamn banger. It's Been Agatha All Along, sung by Kathryn Hahn herself, written by the Frozen creators, is just perfection. It is so good. It's an earworm. It's stuck in my head. But it also is so good narratively catching us up in 30 seconds. It is inspiring storytelling. It is so efficient. It is next level, and it's a fun song. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, I do a full hour breakdown on Fridays of this, a full hour. I take notes. It is insane. It is a lot. It is one of my favorite shows I've ever done. It is a full nerd freak out breakdown. Follow me on Instagram if you want more of this, but I would recommend having seen it first, and it lives there. It lives on Instagram. But also, the Late Con with Coy-Jandreau is going to have a lot of stuff like that. You'll see. So if this is too fast and not enough diving in, that's where I'm saying you can find it for now, is on Instagram and the Late Con with Coy-Jandreau. All right, more notes. I love that right before we have the rabbit out of the hat, metaphorically, of discovering the insanity of Agnes Agatha, the magic is about to be revealed, and the delivery driver's wearing a Presto shirt. Presto Changeo. She changes from hero to villain. Presto Changeo. Goddamn, I'll take a visual pun like that any day of the week. I do expect there to be a double twist. I don't think Agatha is the big bad still. I still think we're getting a Nightmare, Mephisto, something of that level. Time will tell, but I don't think we're gearing up for the big boss fight with her. I think she's going to be the second boss onto the big boss as we get into these last 2 or 3 episodes. Darkhold, the book that is on the dungeony floor on the table. Sorry, I think it's on the table. Yeah, the book that's there, I assume is Darkhold, which has been in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's been in Runaways, but also there was a book missing way back in the Doctor Strange movie. So setting that up this far ahead, I mean, that's the power of setting these movies up 5 or 7 or 10 years ahead of schedule. Like, Kevin Feige's a genius. That book could be the book that's not on the shelf in Doctor Strange and is now with us in 2023 with WandaVision, which is just genius. The cat that Agatha in the comic books, Agatha Harkness has, is her familiar and can turn into a giant puma. The bunny in the episode was purring when Wanda walked by. I think the bunny is a cat, and I think the cicada is Mephisto. Not even kidding. I think the cicada, we zoomed in on it for a bit, which could just show stank, could just show how gross the room is, but one of the first Mephisto appearances chronologically was as a fly. People think I'm crazy because everything's Mephisto because I'm not like the internet. It very much could be Mephisto. So cicada, Mephisto, maybe a thing. We will see if that all turns out to be right or if they've just been trolling me. Both things make me happy. I forgot to mention "And Your Little Dog" too. The fact that the song is so good and then it ends with "And I Killed Sparky too," set to the cadence of "And Your Little Dog too," is so much fun. I love that. Thank you very much, society and writers and everything that led to that moment. That is a highlight. Every week I pick my favorite moment. That is my favorite moment of episode 7. And I Killed Sparky too, set to that beat and is just delivered magnificently and maniacally. That is my moment of the week. Are the glitches Wanda losing control or Agatha trying to wrestle control away? That is my quandary for the week, or the big bad, Mephisto, Nightmare, etc. When she's not in control, what is that symbolizing? Is it just because she expanded the dome too far, or is there someone else fighting her with magic because we saw her get mind wiped just like she mind wiped, people in Ultron, but this time purple mind wiped because it's Agnes. We will see. Photon is born in one of the most beautiful scenes in Marvel history. The duality of Vision breaking down as he left, and in the next episode, Photon bringing in her realities and timelines and all of that coming together, and then landing with the superhero landing is such a beautiful scene. I often talk about the 3 people that I feel like I am. I feel like there's me on the internet, me who I think I am, and me who people that know me think I am. There's always that, like, how you play around. I'm a lot friendlier on the internet, except about politics, than I might be in my head. And people read me as different than I think I am. That visual was so cathartic for me because it felt like when you just like self-actualize and become one person. It was this really personal moment. So when I say one of the most beautiful moments in Marvel history, I mean it. That moment impacted me to the point where I was like thinking metaphorically about my existence and my experience and my thoughts. The whole album, Because the Internet's about this. Because the Internet is one of my favorite pieces of art. And it's Childish Gambino, and it's about the boy Childish Gambino and Donald Glover and his experience on the internet and how religion has all these connotations about creation, but we created the internet and now we're becoming our own versions of deities in our own minds, and we're inventing our own names, and it's just, the internet changed everything. Because the Internet is this powerful album, and he's talking about the trifecta of him, and that album speaks to me so much, and this visual spoke to me so much. I love the Photon Spectrum Monica medley, and I just love that moment. And then landing in a superhero landing post Deadpool, always gonna make me happy. Love that moment. The visuals were great. What it stood for is great. Photon's a really great character. First appearance was an Amazing Spider-Man Annual 16, I want to say. It was John Romita Jr. art. Ever since, she's been Captain Marvel, she's been Spectrum. She's great in Ultimates comics, where she's with Blue Marvel, which is why a lot of people thought Blue Marvel was coming to the show. All of that not being said, I'm excited for Photon. I think she's going to take Photon because that was her mom's call name, and I think there's going to be a catharsis between her and her mother, who was Lashana Lynch in Captain Marvel 1. What that relationship is and that closure, I think, is going to come from the Photon namesake. We talked about that. The dialogue during that transition, also incredible. Big fan of the dialogue from Captain Marvel coming in, shaping her hero moment, seeing the birth of a hero like that. Beautiful. First post-credit scene, guard dog Pietro, Snooper's gonna stoop. Fittingly for a 2010 show. I love the fourth wall break. We talked last week about how we needed it to be 2010s because that's the era of Office and Parks and Rec and Modern Family. We did have a bunch of the fourth wall breaks like I predicted. So the timing was exactly what they needed. Nexus. Okay, I think I'm going to end this on a couple details before I get into Nexus. Wanda hiding under her blanket, which has hexagons on them, so she's hiding behind her hex while she's hiding behind her hex. Genius pun, genius visual. Love that. Operation Cataract, vision is blurry. A cataract is when your vision is blurry. Are you saying that the operation to turn vision into a weapon, to distort vision, a distorted vision, cataract? Genius! Love things like that. Distorted vision, come on. So good. I love that Darcy called it Falling in Love during WandaVision. I love that she referenced WandaVision. I love that we still haven't gotten our big cameo. We did have confirmation from Paul Bettany that there is another cameo coming. That is the one that now multiple people have alluded to. I do still wonder what that's going to be. We talked about it at length last week, so we're not going to get into that. The thing I want to get into is the Nexus commercial. Nexus was used geniusly here because it also made me as a comic fan happy that it doesn't mean Nexus is just the Iron Man internet hub. In Age of Ultron, Nexus is the name of the internet hub where Jarvis spreads himself out to protect us from Ultron. He prevents the nuclear codes from going out. It's a very big moment. But Nexus in the comic books is so much more than that. In the comic books, Nexus is literally a cross-dimensional gateway. I wrote it down so I had the wording right. Cross-dimensional gateway that provides a pathway to various realities. It's literally that big of a thing. You cross over into realities through it. What better tool for Wanda to cement herself, to ground herself here, and to be able to jump around realities, and have it being a pill to control her psyche is genius for this character. A Nexus being, which Wanda is, which Loki is also important because that's someone who can affect probability, someone that can change reality, someone that can warp time. The TVA, who we know are in Loki, are the ones that watch over this very thing. They watch over Nexus beings. The TVA is the Time Variance Authority. I always forget the A. Time Variance Authority, TVA, Loki, coming at you. Owen Wilson plays one, is who monitor these beings. So this already is setting up an entirely new government cabal. This is already setting up this whole thing. The Nexus trailer commercial, maybe the most important commercial to date, which is saying a lot considering how important all these commercials have been. Some of the dialogue in there is, quote, anchor you back to reality or the reality of your choice. Oh my God, that's genius. Next, quote, unless a doctor has cleared you to move on with your life. Perhaps a strange doctor? Maybe it's a strange doctor? So excited, y'all. This trailer was great. We've had the Nexus with Jarvis, so that ties into Vision. We've had the Nexus in the comic books, which is just a madness bit of reality warping. Nexus beings is going to tie into Loki. All of this is coming. Maybe time travel is how Vision's alive. He's a corpse, but maybe they went back and got the Mind Stone. I don't know. I doubt it, because we talked about how once the snap is done, it's destroyed and always will be. But we also had Cap going back to deliver those stones back to their original timelines. Who knows where that stone is from, if he has the stone? How is Ultron alive? Is it a time variance thing? Is that why the TVA comes into Loki? So many questions. We know Loki's a time travel show. Gonna be very exciting. We will see. I am hopeful. All right, before I leave this section, I'm going to check the live chat for all of the live stuff really quickly. Scott Welsh, the Luke Skywalker level cameo to me is Reed Richards. Skywalkers are Star Wars for his family, the FF are Marvels. I've been saying we're getting Reed since episode 3. For me, the Invincible on the marquee in episode 6, I think it was 6. Tinfoil hat theory from Jeff Lee. I think the big cameo is going to be Professor X. I think mutants have been there all along, and he's been using Cerebro to help hide them this whole time. I feel like a lot of people would get upset about that because it's kind of like the dream within a dream thing, but I am hopeful. I am very hopeful. Oh, I was frozen for a second. I think I'm back. Hopefully I'm back. I went on a Fantastic Four rant saying that The Incredibles is very much the Fantastic Four, and there was The Incredibles billboard behind them. It's also a very iconic superhero family, which is what Wanda and Pietro are. All of that is very true. The Cosmic Radiation. Photon Monica is wearing Fantastic Four outfits. She's literally got Fantastic Four. Like, she dressed like a Fantastic Four character and a Future Foundation character. I do think we're getting Fantastic Four, straight up. I agree with you. I hope I'm right. We will see. I'm going to go back to the questions. Jeff's time travel theory is that the big cameo is going to be Professor X. I think mutants have been here all along, and he's been using Cerebro to help hide them this whole time. I've seen this theory. I worry it's a little too... I was dreaming the whole time. But I think we could get Professor X without the X-Men being here the whole time. We will see. We will see. I still think it's Reed Richards, but I love how excited we all are to have theories. I love that I will be happy however it goes, whoever it is. I love that the internet is full of nerds just going like, Xavier, Reed, Magneto. Like, what a time to be alive that we're just yelling comic book things to the point that they're trending on Twitter. Like, the world is on Twitter. Nerds are making things trend on a weekly basis that are deep nerd shit. I'm honored to serve in this age of nerddom with you lovely nerds. Thank you for all of your theories. Okay, that's going to be it for WandaVision, I do believe. I want to make sure I didn't miss any of the Streamlabs, Super Chats, etc., etc. Yes, I do keep getting blipped and then resuming reality a la the internet service. Correct, Jesus. Correct. I've also, Jason, I've also heard that Ralph is Mephisto. I think Ralph is going to be a really fun cameo. I think Ralph might be the big cameo because it's been mentioned so much. I just don't know if Ralph is going to be an important person or just an important cameo. But if Ralph is like Anthony Hopkins, no, he's Odin. If Ralph is someone Daniel Day-Lewis, wouldn't that be crazy? We get Daniel Day-Lewis out of retirement, play Ralph, like just a character named Ralph. There's my tinfoil hat theory. Ralph is Daniel Day-Lewis. All right, let's get over to comic book stuff. I think that's going to be it for WandaVision spoilers. I hope that was enough for everybody. If you want more of my WandaVision crazy theories, there's a full hour on Instagram every single week. I dive into all of it. This is just the highlights from some of my notes, but there's way more over at Instagram, and there's going to be a ton over on the Late Con with Coy-Jandreau every single week, and I'm very excited to dive into some of the other stuff that's coming. I also do think there's a 10th episode. That being said, I'm adjusting my schedule for the 9th episode, and I'm hoping to have a guest on my Instagram show on episode 9. So not this Friday, but next Friday. If you don't follow me yet on Instagram, I'm hoping to have a guest. I have a friend on the show, so I'm hoping that's the guest. If that I can't sell it any harder. Okay, I got the Super Chat to reload. I want to make sure I don't miss any of these bad Larrys. Jesus! Also, I'm starting my podcast this Thursday with my cousin. Going to be talking WandaVision and some comic book goodness, all on the Stereo podcast app. Good people, Stereo. Look up Jesus Gastelum. That is JESUSGASTELUM on Stereo. Listen to his WandaVision thoughts. I am also on Stereo. Have not started using it yet, but you can follow me on Stereo. I'm also on Clubhouse. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on all the apps. I'm trying real hard. I just got on Clubhouse, and I just got on Stereo, so I haven't started using them yet. But I'm loving TikTok now that I've gotten used to it. And the guest that is coming for WandaVision, I will probably put that audio over on Stereo as well. And she is a cast member on the show. WandaVision. I also see someone saying, Matt Key, please, Coy. Matt and I were actually going to do today's show. I know you guys saw on my tweets that I retweeted Matt Key. Matt Key was going to come on today, but scheduling got screwy as of yesterday at 4 o'clock. So yesterday at 4 o'clock we had to adjust. Matt couldn't make it today. Matt can't make it next week, but the following week, the second week of March, Matt Key is going to be the first guest on Coy Cubed. That I've never had a guest on this show. I've had, insert videos and stuff. I've never had a guest. The first ever guest on this show is going to be Matt Key. I'm very excited. So Matt Key and I are going to talk about WandaVision as its episode 9 airs that following Tuesday. 2 weeks from now, going to be crazy. We will see. Stay tuned. But that is not the guest for my Instagram show. Because she's a cast member and also a she. That said, Stereo for Mr. Jesus Gastelum, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. And yes, Jesus, once I get ahead, I have a show with Ben Bateman that we haven't done since January because I'm a monster. So I've got to catch up with my stuff and then with Ben's, but I would love to do a show on Stereo with you. Absolutely. Consider me in once everything settles. I've got one more Streamlab over from Curtis Mason. Yo, magic theory of mine from last week. I think it represents the people on the edge of town starving. They have to be fed with magic, but they can't move. Vision finds them right after the commercial. I do think that was a metaphor for the people in the town, but I think it's bigger. I think that the Yo Magic yogurt is very much a representation of the magic being pulled out from people, but I also think that people are atrophying because they're being used. I think that like the big bad of the show is pulling their grief and trauma out of them, which is the decay and all that stuff. So I agree 100% with your theory. I just also think there's another layer to it on top of that about grief and trauma and either Mephisto or Nightmare. Because Nightmare, as you know, puts people to sleep and then feeds off their horrible dreams. He feeds off their nightmares. That would tie beautifully into the grief and trauma that these people, as soon as they snap out of it, they leap to grief and trauma. That's what I think that commercial also is about. So I think that's coming as well. Great theory, Curtis. I agree with you, and we will find out probably as soon as this week, because we're going to have to start getting answers because there's only 2 or 3 episodes left. Very excited. Time will tell. And thank you for the Streamlab. I appreciate you very, very much, and I agree with your theory. All right, over to people are very excited about Matt Key in the chat, which makes me very excited. That is going to be fun, and I wish it could have worked out this week. We're both very excited to nerd out together. As soon as it's an option, it is very much happening. Yes. Yes, I miss hearing Matt talk Marvel. If he's got any shows out there, let me know. I don't think Matt's doing shows. He's writing a lot. Matt's a writer boy, so I think Matt's just writing, which is why he wanted to come on my show to geek out, because I do all this stuff. So Matt's going to jump in over here, and it's going to be very exciting, and that is 2 weeks from now, if all goes well. So tune in. Oh shit, 2 weeks from now is also theoretically my guest. 2 weeks from now on Instagram and 2 weeks from now on Coy Cubed are my 2 first guests on those shows, and I am pretty stoked. All right, and the Late Con is hopefully going to be a full episode that week when I have my guest on. Someone in the chat just asked. Manny the Movie Nerd, hopefully the Late Con will be in its fullness on this 2 weeks from now show when I have my guest. That is when I'm hoping to do the debut of episode 1, if all line up correctly. All right, good people of the internet, let's talk comic books. I have a bunch of books I recommend you lovelies read. I don't have any streaming recommendations because it's the end of the month. Early next month, next week's show, I'll have all sorts of streaming recs for what to watch in March, but as of February, as of the 23rd, not much. Next week's the 2nd, tons of streaming recs, so we're just going to do comic book recommendations as we close out the show. I would recommend from last week. Last week was an incredible week in comic books. Batman Catwoman number 3, A+. Or I don't give A+ as often, rare A+. Holy crap. It is incredible. I highly recommend you check out Batman Catwoman number 3. Black Widow number 5, Cable number 8, Champions number 4, Future State Catwoman number 2, Iron Fist, Heart of the Dragon number 2, Iron Man number 6, King in Black number 4, MODOK Head Games number 3, Savage Avengers 18, Space Bastards 2, Stillwater 6, Thor number 12, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Last Ronin number 2 are my top books of the week. I had someone tweet me asking me why no one was talking about Last Ronin. They're wrong is why. They are very good. Spider-Man Last Ronin. I just leaned in and I saw Spider-Man and he's my boy. Turtles Last Ronin is an exceptional book. Highly recommend it. It's a mini-series. It's very accessible. You don't have to have read Turtles ever. It is a great book. Batman Catwoman is my book of the week. Turtles Last Ronin is a close second. Robert Kramer, I got it yesterday. I responded to you on Instagram earlier today. I just got that package yesterday. Whenever I see Jenny, it will be transitioned right over. Jenny and I are not in the same quarantine bubble anymore, so it might be a little bit because we're not seeing people. But when I do get to see Jenny, you have my word, and thank you, good sir. Yeah, I have a P.O. box, and the great Robert Kramer sent something to it. My P.O. box is on the other side of town. I don't have a car, so I'm only over there like once every 3 months. But I got the package. Thank you, Mr. Robert Kramer. All right, those are my favorite books from last week. The books I recommend you pick up tomorrow. My comic book recommendations for this week, the week of the 24th of February. I recommend Amazing Spider-Man 60, Batman Black and White number 3, Batman White Knight Harley Quinn number 5, Black Cat number 3, Black Panther 23, Captain Marvel 26, Crossover number 4. Donny Cates has an incredible week this week with Crossover. I'm very excited for this book. Also, Department of Truth number 6. Those are 2 of my favorite comics on the shelves, both out this week. Department of Truth, only 4 issues in, jump on it. They just greenlit it for a show. Department of Truth is going to be a show. And it's my favorite new comic on the shelves. I meant to talk about that earlier. I've been saying since issue 1, Department of Truth is a game changer of a comic book. It is genius, and I love it very much. Nat Roman, the back of my hair is, I haven't had a haircut because of COVID, so I'm doing this, and every so often you get a peek at the knot mullet, but like it's too short to put into like a man bun, so it's just annoying. So I'm sorry for any mullety vibes. They're not intentional, and I apologize if that answers your question. Department of Truth, 4 issues. Pick them up, change your life. It's a genius title, just got picked up to series. It's going to be a show. Read it before it's a show. you'll thank me later. The following Future State books are available this week. Future State Aquaman #2, Batman Superman 2, Dark Detective 4, Legion of Superheroes 2, Suicide Squad 2, Superman vs. Imperious Lex 2, Superman House of L1 are all Future State books dropping right now that I recommend. King in Black has a bunch of books this week. We got King in Black Captain America 1, King in Black Namor 4, King in Black Return of the Valkyries 3, over to Maestro War and Pax #2, Magnificent Miss Marvel 18, Marvel's Voices Legacy #1, New Mutants 12, Sensational Wonder Woman 8, Symbiote Spider-Man King in Black #4, US Agent #3, Wolverine 10, and finally X-Men 18. Those are the comic books I will be reading this week. I plan to check them out as soon as possible. I'll be reading those all week, and the next week I'll tell you which were my top 9 or 10 favorite. Very excited. I think that is going to do it for this week, you lovelies. So many comics to check out, and I hope you enjoyed the madness of the news. We just got over a minute. One of these weeks, I'm gonna be able to get this under an hour, and until then, man oh man. Man oh man. That said, if you want to stay around for more content, myself and Michael McCarsell are going to be watching Jurassic Park in about 40 minutes, a little after 6, feature-length commentary, Jurassic Park. This is exciting because this is the first of the movies that I loved as a kid, love as an adult, but I don't have a lot of factoids about it because it's not like a comic book movie or a movie that I have friends on. This is just me experiencing something. So if you wanted to see me rocking out, enjoying Jurassic Park, that is happening in about 40 minutes on this very channel. There's already a link up. You can already find the link. It's available. You can jump in the waiting room right now. It is going to be a good time. I do not know where to stream Jurassic Park, actually. Someone just asked. That's a very good question. I have it on Blu-ray because I buy movies and then I never think about streaming them unless they're new. Jurassic Park is available on Hulu, it looks like. Try Hulu. Yes, try Hulu. I am very excited to dive into Jurassic Park with Michael McCarsell, patron saint of watch-alongs. I am so hyped. And if you think I didn't think to invite Perry, you're crazy. Of course I thought to invite Perry, but she's busy because this is a Tuesday. Work. And she's on the East Coast. She's in New York. All right, everyone, Jurassic Park kicks off very soon. Jeff, you clever. Kicks off in about 30-40 minutes. If you guys would like to join me, stick around, jump on that other link. Until then, thank you for being here. Thank you for reading comics. Thank you to Comic Books for existing. And I will see you next week and earlier if you watch my WandaVision show over on Instagram. Wednesday, Coycast. Friday, Instagram. Saturday, The Late Con. Today, 40 minutes, Jurassic Park. Lots of stuff coming at you. I appreciate you guys. Thanks, Koi Pond. I will see you very soon.